Have you ever felt like you were carrying an invisible weight? A quiet, persistent storm swirls inside, a loop of doubts, fears and frustrations that won't let go. It may not be visible to the outside world, but inside it's exhausting. The constant noise in your head, the tension in your chest, the way stress seems to rob you of joy before the day even begins. You are not alone. Many of us, especially those in middle age, know this feeling well. Negative energy does not appear naturally. It forms, slowly, through toxic environments, unhealthy habits, and emotional wounds that we have not fully healed. And the more we fight these feelings, pretend they aren't there, push them aside, or try to fight them, the more they grow. But here's the truth. You don't have to get stuck in that storm. You have the power to calm it. This is not wishful thinking or surface-level affirmation. This is the application of timeless Buddhist wisdom. 10 profound principles that are not only spiritual concepts, but also practical tools that you can use to clear your mental sky and regain your peace. Because peace is not a place you go to after everything in life goes smooth. It's a mindset you can cultivate right now, even in the midst of chaos. Let's start with the first principle: radical acceptance. Imagine your mind as a river, sometimes calm and contemplative, other times wild and restless. Negative thoughts are like sharp rocks below the surface. When you struggle and resist, you become more vulnerable. But when you learn to move with the flow, you begin to navigate life with clarity and grace. Radical acceptance means giving up the need to control everything. It doesn't mean giving up, it means recognizing what is, not judging, not denying, and not wasting your energy trying to change what cannot be changed. It's the difference between fighting the rain and simply opening an umbrella. Take Mia, a middle-aged professional immersed in a toxic work environment. She spent months trying to fix her boss, hoping he would change, hoping the office would become what she imagined. But nothing worked. Her frustration grew, her strength drained, and each day she felt heavier than the day before. Then one day, she discovered the concept of radical acceptance. Instead of clinging to the illusion of a perfect workplace, she accepted her reality and shifted her focus. Within weeks, she found a new job that aligned with her values. The weight is lifted. We all face things we cannot control. A relationship that has ended, a missed opportunity, a future that seems uncertain. When we resist reality, we suffer. But when we accept it, we are free to respond with wisdom and strength. Try this. Next time you encounter an unpleasant situation, breath, and repeat in silence. It's like this: I don't have to fight it. You may notice a subtle change. That tight grip loosened. That nervous tension begins to melt away. Clarity began to emerge. As the Buddha taught, peace begins when resistance ends. You cannot stop the river of life, but you can learn to cross it with trust and calm. Choose to stop fighting the rain and start walking under the open sky. The second principle is equally important. Understand the nature of the mind. Your mind is like a lantern in a dark room. Wherever you point it, that area will be illuminated. Focus on joy, and joy will expand. Focus on fear, and fear will take over. The mind does not respond well to compulsion. If you try to silence it, if you banish negative thoughts, they only come back stronger. Think of it like pushing a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more it bounces. Negative thoughts are not always the enemy. They are often just patterns, habitual responses to stress, frustration or fear. The important thing is not to force them to leave, but to redirect your focus. Instead of obsessing about what's wrong, focus on the things that cheer you up. What inspires you? What brings light? Here's a simple way to start. The next time you find yourself falling into the what-if mindset, don't resist it, acknowledge it, and then gently shift your energy. Take a walk, take a quiz, write a letter, help someone in need. These small acts of presence help refocus your mind and remind you of what matters most. Ultimately, the mind is a tool, not your master. And as the Buddha wisely said, what you think, you will become. So what do you choose to think about today? When the mind isn't still, how to redirect your thoughts and find inner peace. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to quiet your mind, the noisier it becomes? It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more force you apply, the harder it pushes back. That's how negative thoughts work. The more we fight them, the more energy we give them. The mind does not respond well to repression. True peace doesn't come from trying to silence negativity. It comes from choosing to focus on what uplifts, empowers and grounds us. There is a timeless truth in Buddhist wisdom. What you resist persists. We all feel it. The anxious thoughts at 2 a.m., the mental loops of repeating conversations, the endless what-ifs after a mistake. That's human, but there is a way to solve this problem without resorting to force. It involves understanding and choice. Consider Daniel, a young entrepreneur whose dreams were overshadowed by a lack of confidence. Every time he faced a failure, his mind raced. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail again? He tried everything to push those thoughts out: distraction, denial, even toxic positivity. But it only makes the fear stronger. Then one day, Daniel accidentally discovered a simple principle of Buddhism. Don't fight that thought. Redirect your focus. Instead of obsessing over what went wrong, he admitted his fears and chose to invest his energy in creating a new business plan. Gradually, his inner dialogue changed, from fear to curiosity and finally to quiet confidence. He did not remove his doubts. He learned to move with it, instead of against it. And that is an invitation to all of us. In modern life, overthinking is an almost universal struggle, especially in your 40s and beyond, when responsibilities are heavier and time becomes more precious. We focus on mistakes, second-guess decisions, and carry messy emotions like invisible baggage. But here is the liberating truth. Your mind is one tool, not a tyrant. You can choose where it shines. Next time you overthink, try this. Don't fight it. Channel it. Give your mind something meaningful to engage with. Solve a puzzle. Paint something. Call a friend who lifts you up. Volunteer. Write. Do anything that requires your full presence. By immersing yourself in your purpose, you rob it of its negative energy. Ask yourself a powerful question. What do I choose to amplify today? Because that's the point. Focus. The mind will wander. That's its nature. But your focus determines the quality of your thinking. Nurture it. Nurture it. Align it with what's important to you. Practice gratitude. Explore new ideas. Invest in actions that reflect your values. Over time, your mind's lamp will shine less into the darkness and more into the light. Buddha once said, "Mind is everything. What you think, you become." So today, let your thoughts be a mirror of the life you want, not the fears you carry. That brings us to another effective practice, mindful detachment. Imagine you are standing on a quiet hill, looking at the sky. The clouds passed by, some light and bright, others dark and heavy. Now imagine those clouds are your thoughts. If you try to chase or push them away, you will only exhaust yourself. But if you stand still and observe, you will discover something extraordinary. You are not the clouds, you are the sky. This is mindful renunciation. It is the art of witnessing your thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. You are not your fear. You are not your anger. You are not even your sadness. You are the observer of it all. When we fully trust every thought that arises, we give it power. But when we step back and observe, we create space. Space for clarity, intention and peace. Emma, a college student, struggled with this before her final exams. Her heart was filled with doubt. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? The more she tried to suppress her fear, the stronger it became. Then a mentor introduced her to a simple meditation method. Emma sat still, focused on her breathing, and began to observe her thoughts like leaves floating in the water. At first, the fear still came, but something changed. She distrusted every thought. She doesn't fight it, and over time, that helped her calm down enough to think clearly and study with purpose. You can do the same. When negative thoughts appear, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air move in and out of your body. Visualize those thoughts as drifting clouds. Don't follow them. Don't fight them. Just notice and let them pass. This simple act of mindfulness is very powerful. It puts distance between you and your thoughts, allowing you to react to life instead of reacting to it. As the Buddha wisely taught, you only lose what you hold on to. Let's go. Not with force, but with kindness. Peace is not the absence of thought, it is the freedom to choose what is worth your attention. And that freedom, it's available to you now. When you create a little space between you and your thoughts, you gain the freedom to respond to life with more intention than pure reaction. Ask yourself, am I a thinker or am I just an observer of my thought? By practicing mindful detachment, you gradually move from being a slave to your emotions to realizing that they are fleeting and temporary. Over time, this practice will bring a deep sense of freedom and balance. As Buddha famously said, you only lose what you cling to. When you let go of the need to identify with every thought that arises, you begin to discover the unshakable peace that resides within you. Imagine you are walking through a dense forest at dusk. At first your eyes may be glued to the deep darkness under the towering trees and the darkness seems overwhelming. But then you stop and light a small lantern. Suddenly those shadows shrink, revealing the intricate beauty of the trees, the gentle rustling of leaves, and a hidden path you'd never noticed. This simple act of lighting a lantern is the transformative power of gratitude, a practice that shifts your focus from what you lack to the abundance that surrounds you every day. Gratitude is not about ignoring life's difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about training your mind to look for the light even when the darkness seems all-encompassing. When you keep gratitude in your heart, it recalibrates your mental pattern. Your brain begins to naturally lean toward positivity, even in challenging times, shining a light on what you have rather than what you've lost. Consider the story of James, a young businessman who faced severe disappointment when his first business failed. For weeks he was haunted by thoughts of inadequacy and regret. Every day his mind is filled with what-ifs and echoes of past mistakes. One evening a trusted mentor challenged him to write down 3 things he was grateful for every day. At first, finding even 3 items seemed impossible. His world had become so dark. However, James persisted. He started with the small details, the comforting warmth of his morning cup of coffee, the encouragement of a friend, even the breathtaking sunset he happened to see while taking an evening walk. Gradually, his perspective changed. Instead of focusing on what was lost, James began to focus on what remained and the possibilities that lay ahead. Over time, his innovative thinking gave him the courage to launch a new business venture that was ultimately successful. In the chaos of modern life, it's easy to wallow in our shortcomings, revisit old regrets, or worry endlessly about the future. But gratitude gives us a way out. By taking a few minutes each day to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's a kind word, a moment of laughter, or simply steady breathing, you'll build mental resilience that helps you navigate negativity with grace. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? Let this question be the guiding light for your daily life. Because as the Buddha taught, true abundance does not come from what is missing, but from a deep appreciation for what is already there. Equally powerful is the practice of visualizing positive outcomes. Think of your mind as a painter, and every thought as a brushstroke on a canvas of your future. When negativity prevails, the picture you create can become dark and chaotic. But when you begin to visualize positive outcomes, you begin to create a masterpiece filled with hope, light and purpose. Visualization is more than just daydreaming. It is an intentional act of focusing your energy and intention on the successes you wish to achieve. By vividly visualizing positive situations, you train your subconscious mind to see opportunities where there were previously obstacles, allowing you to overcome your fears and act decisively with purpose. Take, for example, the story of Sarah, a determined professional preparing for an important job interview. Overwhelmed by self-doubt, she suffered from a paralyzing fear of rejection and failure. Instead of fighting anxiety, Sarah turned to visualization practices. Every night before her interview, she closed her eyes and imagined herself walking into the room confidently, calmly assured, and receiving her long-awaited offer. Not only did she see the result in her head, she felt that consistent mental rehearsal transformed her inner dialogue from fear to quiet determination. And when that day finally came, Sarah's calm composure shone through, allowing her true potential to emerge and making the interview process a stepping stone to a new beginning. Ultimately, the mind is both powerful and subtle, a tool that can control us or be mastered by us. By detaching from negative thoughts, practicing gratitude, and visualizing positive outcomes, you gradually gain control of the narrative in your head. You begin to see that you are not defined by the momentary emotions that pass through your mind. Rather, you are the one who chooses what to focus on, creating a life that reflects hope, resilience, and possibility. Embrace these practices and discover the unshakable peace that lies within you, peace that is not found by suppressing negativity, but by inviting light to flood every corner of your mind. Your mind is the canvas, how to visualize success and turn emotions into power. When Sarah walked into that job interview, she wasn't as nervous and self-doubting as usual. Instead, she carried herself with a quiet confidence, as if she had been there before. That's because, in her mind, in the days leading up to the big moment, Sarah had it all figured out. She imagined herself entering the room with poise, calmly answering questions and shaking hands when presented with invitations. She didn't just imagine the outcome, her feel joy, pride, feeling of accomplishment. That mental rehearsal process not only calmed her anxiety, but also helped her perform better. When that day came, Sarah was not overwhelmed. Her preparation, coupled with her ability to visualize, helped her perform at her best, and she got the job. In times of uncertainty, whether it's a job interview, a presentation, or even a difficult conversation, visualization can be one of your biggest allies. Next time you feel your stress rising, pause, close your eyes, visualize the situation going well, see yourself getting through it gracefully. Listen to your tone, feel the results as if they were real. This is not fantasy, it is a powerful mental exercise, something to help your brain focus solution rather than obstacles. Ask yourself, what do my best results look like? Use that image as a guiding light. Because here's the truth, the future is a blank canvas, and your thoughts are the brush. Everyone leaves a mark, so why not draw something bold, something bright, something that fits the life you want to live? As Buddha wisely said, with our thoughts we create the world. Today, choose to create a world of possibility by envisioning the future you truly want. Every masterpiece begins with a single brushstroke. Make your count. Just as visualization can reframe our thoughts, our emotions can also become powerful tools for transformation if we know how to harness them. Think of your emotions like a river, strong, fast-flowing, unpredictable. Try to fight it, and you'll just burn yourself out. But if you learn to control its flow, it can take you places you never imagined. This is the essence of transforming emotions into energy, a powerful Buddhist principle that invites us to see emotions not as enemies but as messengers. Even the difficult things, emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness can make you feel overwhelmed, especially during midlife when the weight of work, family, and responsibilities can pile up. But these feelings are not inherently negative. They are signals, indicators pointing toward what needs attention or change. The important thing is not to prevent them, but to turn them into something useful. David, a seasoned manager, often feels frustrated by his team's poor productivity. Meetings become tense. Relationships at work become strained. The pressure grew until one day his mentor challenged him to look deeper. What is your frustration trying to tell you? David realized that his anger was not only emotional but also informative. The real problem is misinformation and unclear expectation. Instead of responding with criticism, David chose to focus his energy on restructuring the way the team worked. He set clearer goals, improved his communication, and held honest, constructive conversations. The change is remarkable. Not only did productivity increase, but the team dynamic changed, and David rediscovered a sense of purpose in his leadership. This is the power of emotional alchemy, turning poison into medicine. Next time you feel overwhelmed by emotions, stop and ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Maybe your anger is asking you to speak up. Maybe frustration is pushing you to rethink your approach. Once you identify the root, use that insight to take purposeful action. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a new project, or setting boundaries, your emotions can become a driving force if you let them. You don't have to be ruled by your emotions, you can associate with them. Redirect their forces into something that creates progress instead of pain. As Buddha said, in chaos there is also opportunity. And sometimes that opportunity lies right in the very emotion you're trying to avoid. Today, take some time to feel what is stirring inside you. Don't run away from it, don't fight it. Just listen and ask how you can put it into motion. Because emotions, like your thoughts, are not just part of your experience. They are the energy of life, waiting for your direction. Rediscover the joy of being alive. How to reset your mind and regain inner peace. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, it is easy to forget one of the most profound truths. You are alive. Every heartbeat, every breath, every step you take is part of the magic happening in real time. However, when the noise of overthinking and emotional turmoil takes over, we lose connection to that aliveness. Our heads spin, wrapped in stress, doubt and endless mental chatter. But Buddhist principles about focus on vibrancy teaches us to return, not to another place, but to the present. Come home to the simple, unshakable truth that life is happening right now, inside of us. Life doesn't happen in your thoughts, it is happening in the rhythm of your being, in the rise and fall of your breath, in the quiet pulse of your veins, in the subtle perception of fairness, present. And when you choose to focus on that vividness, you create a powerful distance between yourself and the storm in your mind. You create space, stillness, clear. Take Maya, for example, a middle-aged professional who has just had a stressful and emotionally exhausting work week. Her thoughts were restless. What if I fail? What will they think? Am I falling behind? Questions swirled until she felt completely paralyzed. That night, instead of reaching for her phone or staring blankly in front of the TV, she chose something else. She sat quietly and just focused on her breathing. Inhale, expiratory. With each breath she began to pay attention to her heartbeat, the gentle rhythm of her chest, the soothing feeling of oxygen filling her lungs. Gradually, the noise in her head began to fade, not because she pushed it away, but because she returned to the present. As for life itself, and in that space she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. That's the power of tuning into your vibrance. It does not require retreat or special training. It just needs your presence. Try it now. Sit quietly. Feel the air enter your nostrils. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel your pulse, steady and lively. Let your thoughts come and go like passing clouds, but don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just go back to feeling alive. Ask yourself, how does it feel to be alive now? That question is an anchor. It grounds you. It reminds you that no matter how chaotic your mind feels, your body is still here, stable, breathing, and capable. As Buddha reminded us, you only lose what you hold on to. Let go of attachment to every thought and find peace in your body. And once you reconnect with that aliveness, the next step is protect it by managing your mental ecosystem. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant there, whatever you feed it, grows. If your days are filled with toxic media, exhausting conversations, and relentless negativity, your inner world will reflect that. Fear, anxiety, and discontent will take root. But if you consciously plant the seeds of inspiration, calm, and clarity, your mind will become a sanctuary. Let's look at Alex, a successful businessman who finds himself trapped in a vicious cycle of burnout and cynicism. His morning started with a series of bad news, followed by meetings one after another full of blame, stress, and complaints. By the time the day ended, Alex was completely exhausted, creatively, emotionally, and spiritually. One day, he made a choice. Go person in charge, his environment. He started small. The morning begins not with headlines, but with a gratitude journal. He replaced mindless scrolling with podcasts that inspire growth and leadership. Instead of lingering in tiring conversations, he sought out people who encouraged him, people who made him feel lighter, more hopeful. In just a few weeks, Alex noticed a difference. His energy has returned. His thoughts became clearer. His enthusiasm returned, not because his outer world had changed, but because his inner world had changed. You can do the same. Start by examining your environment. Ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind with? What am I consuming every day? Who am I surrounding myself with? Identify what lifts you up and what drags you down. Then make conscious changes. Set boundaries with people or content that drags you into negativity. Choose uplifting media. Read books that nourish your soul. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow and who help you see the good in yourself and the world. This is not only a mental detox, but also a lifelong practice, because what you allow into your mind becomes the soil for your thoughts to grow, and your thoughts shape your life. As Buddha said, with our thoughts we create the world. Today, choose thoughts that reflect the world you want to live in. A world of peace, vitality, and purpose. Because you don't just survive, you are alive, and it is a miracle worth protecting. Let go, live free. How to let go of attachment and regain the power of the present moment. What we feed our minds becomes the soil in which our thoughts grow. Buddha reminds us, your mind is everything. What you think, you become. In today's world, filled with toxic media, endless gossip, and emotional clutter, the quality of our thinking depends greatly on what we allow into our mental ecosystem. If we are constantly negative, fearful, and comparing, our minds will be cluttered with weeds. But when we consciously nurture our inner world with uplifting habits, meaningful conversations, and content that expands us, we cultivate clarity, purpose, and joy. Imagine replacing your daily scroll through divisive headlines or complaints with something that lifts your spirit. Power podcasts, books that nourish your soul, time spent with people who lift you up. Like a garden, your mind reacts to what you plant, and even in the most stressful times, a well-tended spiritual ecosystem can flourish in strength and peace. This leads us to another profound principle, one that is essential in midlife, when expectations often conflict with reality. Not attached. We spend a lot of time in our lives, grasp to achieve success, recognition, control, or comfort in relationships, just as we imagine them to be. But life is not meant to be held tightly. It flows, shifts, and changes, and when we hold on too tightly, we suffer. As the Buddha taught, suffering arises from holding on to what cannot be held. Imagine a sculptor creating a masterpiece. If they are obsessed with perfection, cling to results, or only work for praise, the joy of creativity will be lost. Their hands stiffen. Art becomes stressful. But when that same sculptor creates from presence and passion, giving up the need to control what others think, the process becomes a gift. The masterpiece becomes a byproduct, rather than the sole reward. That's the essence of non-attachment, dedicating your entire being to the present, without clinging to what comes next. Consider Rachel, a dedicated professional, who is striving for a high-paying promotion. She puts all her effort into her work, but her happiness depends entirely on the result. Every small obstacle feels like failure. Her thoughts whirled. What if I'm not good enough? What if I never succeed? Then she accidentally learned about the principle of non-attachment. It changed everything. Instead of obsessing about the results, she started focusing on her work. She shows up with dedication, puts her energy into the task at hand, and stops attaching her value to the outcome. When the opportunity for promotion finally came, it felt like a reward, not a measure of her worth. Her satisfaction comes from the process, not the prize. To begin practicing non-attachment in your own life, start by identifying where you are clinging too tightly. Is it a relationship you're trying to control? What is an important milestone that you believe should happen at a certain age? Or perhaps it requires constant approval from others. When you notice the handle, gently shift your weight. Put your energy into what you maybe control: your intention, your effort, your presence. Let go of needing things to come true reasonable. You will discover that true freedom is not indifference. It is peace. It's about love, work, and dreams, without expectations. Because the tighter you hold, the higher the risk of loss. But when you release attachment, you create space for joy, gratitude, calm. And perhaps the most powerful way to release attachment is to learn how to anchor yourself in the present. We've all done it. Repeating old mistakes, worrying about the future, and getting stuck in a cycle of regret and fear. That mental noise can be so loud, it drowns out the only thing that's real, this moment. But there is a remedy, a simple, profound practice, rooted in Buddhist wisdom. Be here. Currently, Sarah, a young entrepreneur, finds herself trapped in a spiral of anxiety. Every night her mind races through worst-case scenarios about her business. Sleep becomes difficult. Peace seems impossible. Then one evening she remembered a mindfulness exercise. Focus on the present moment. She sat down, closed her eyes, and breathed. Slow, deliberate. She felt the chair beneath her, the cool air on her skin, the rise and fall of her breathing. In that moment, the storm in her mind began to subside, not because she had solved all her problems, but because she had returned home to what was real: her breath, her body, her life. The mind may try to return to the past or jump into the future. That's normal. But every time you anchor yourself to the present, you regain your strength, because present is where your power lives. The past is over. The future has not come yet, but right now you are here, and that's more than enough. So today, let go of what is beyond your control. Feed your mind with what inspires. Appreciate work without clinging to rewards. And most importantly, return to the present moment over and over again until peace becomes your natural state, not a destination. Because when you stop grasping, you start living. And in that letting go, you find everything you've been looking for all along. Going home. Going home. The Buddhist path to stillness, clarity, and emotional freedom. There are moments in life when the noise in our minds becomes deafening, when thoughts race, worries pile up, and peace feels out of reach. But what if instead of fighting against that chaos, you simply return to something much more solid, this moment? Sarah, a young entrepreneur trying to navigate the pressures of her growing business, feels anxious. Night after night her mind spiraled to worst-case scenarios. What if things don't go as planned? What if I'm not enough? The conversation in her head had become a loop that she couldn't escape. Then one evening, something changed. Overwhelmed and exhausted, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Instead of thinking her way out of fear, she fell into the present. She noticed the feel of the chair beneath her, the cool air brushing against her skin, the quiet rhythm of her breathing. Gradually, the storm began to subside, not because her problems had disappeared, but because her awareness had returned to what was real, tangible, and safe. In that moment, she realized, nothing is really wrong right now. I'm safe. I'm here. This is the power of anchoring yourself in the present moment, a Buddhist practice that offers a way out of mental noise and into peace. It is not a complicated ritual or a lofty philosophy. It's as simple as paying attention to your breathing, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or the distant sound of birds outside the window. Next time you feel overwhelmed, try this. Pause. Identify a sensory detail in your environment. Maybe it's the smell of your coffee, the texture of a book in your hand, or the pressure of your feet on the ground.
When you focus on something real and immediate, you interrupt the cycle of negative thinking. You reclaim your awareness from the past and the future and bring it home. Current. Yes, this practice takes effort, but over time it becomes more natural. Every time you anchor yourself in the present, you create the habit of calm, a quiet space where negativity cannot exist. As our beloved teacher Thich Nhat Hanh once said, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you pay attention, you will see it.
And that presence, it opens the door to the next profound principle, the secret of letting go. Imagine you are standing alone in a quiet field, watching a cloud drift gently across the sky. It cannot resist the wind. It does not stick to its position. It simply moves, free, lightly. That cloud is like your negative thoughts. They come and go, but they don't have to stay. You don't have to fight them or assign meaning to them. You can just pay attention and let them pass. This is the essence of letting go, a profound teaching in Buddhist wisdom. Jason, another entrepreneur, knows what it feels like to be stuck in self-doubt. Every mistake, every criticism makes him fall into the same story. I'm not good enough. I will never be able to do that. These thoughts weren't just passing ideas. They became part of his identity. They weighed him down, made him afraid to take action, and hindered his ability to move forward. Then, one day, a friend introduced him to the concept of letting go. Skeptical but desperate, Jason tried. Instead of fighting his negative thoughts, he started observing them, like clouds in the sky. He didn't argue with them or push them away. He simply let them pass, and something remarkable happened. The weight is lifted. His mind is clear. He began to think more confidently, act without fear, and be open to his journey. The thoughts still came, but they no longer had power over him. By letting go, he created space for clarity, calm, and creativity. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It doesn't mean pretending like nothing hurts. It means allowing thoughts to exist without any judgment or identification attached to them. The more we resist, the stronger they become. But when we free of our hold, they lose their strength. You can start practicing this in your daily life. When a thought arises that makes you anxious or upset, pay attention to it. Breath. And tell yourself, this is just a thought. I don't have to keep it. Then let it go. Over time, this practice becomes a way of life, less control and more freedom. Don't bring too much with you. You stop reacting. And here you go. Replied clearly and easily. The principle of letting go is deeply liberating. It frees you from the constant pressure to fix, to judge, to cling. And it opens the door to a new state of mind, where peace can flourish. Because life often feels like a never-ending storm. Our thoughts and emotions whirl in all directions, clouding our ability to see the path ahead. But here is the truth that Buddhist wisdom reveals. The storm is not the problem. Our attached file for it is like that. When we stop fighting the storm, when we release the need to control, predict, or cling, we rediscover something powerful. Stillness, the kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances but develops from within. By practicing these principles, detached awareness, radical acceptance, gratitude, presence, and letting go, we begin to illuminate our lives with intention. Each person acts like a lantern, illuminating the darkness and showing us the way forward. Not out of trouble, but because Buddhism does not offer quick solutions. What it offers is something better: practice, one road. A choice you can make every day to step out of chaos and toward clarity. As Buddha once said, don't live in the past. Don't dream about the future. Focus your mind on the present moment. Amidst the noise and emotional storms of life, one truth remains: peace is not found by controlling everything. It is found by letting go. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that we are not our thoughts. We are their observers. By anchoring ourselves in the present moment, practicing mindful letting go, and releasing what no longer serves us, we open up to a deep sense of clarity and calm. Even in chaos, we can choose stillness. For those of us over 40, this is not just a theory but a practice that can change lives. Start small. Breath. Pay attention to what's real. Let your thoughts float by like clouds. You don't need to bring If this message speaks to you, please take a moment to like, share, and comment with your favorite takeout. And don't forget order for more mindful reflections that support a peaceful, fulfilling life, one breath at a time.